Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty massive shift happening right now in the digital landscape. We're going to look at how the illusion of the free internet actually turns you into the resource, and then we'll explore Codatta's decentralized architecture. It's a system that's aiming to fundamentally shift users from being, well, exploited inputs to actually becoming empowered owners.
Think about it. For the last couple of decades, the internet has basically trained us to believe that free is the absolute best feature, right? Free social platforms, free cloud storage, free AI assistance, you name it. But here's the hidden, unspoken rule behind almost all of these digital ecosystems. When a platform is free, you, the user, are rarely the customer. You are the resource. Literally every post you write, every data set you contribute, every little correction you make in a forum, or label you provide for an AI model, all of that feeds a system that just keeps growing richer and more powerful. Meanwhile, you completely lose control over the very things you contributed.
So let's get into Section 1, the free platform paradox, and specifically, the growth playbook.
Okay, let's dive into this. There's a very specific three-step playbook driving almost every modern platform you use today. Step 1, remove the friction. They offer you incredible services at absolutely zero cost just to get you through the door and accelerate adoption. Step 2, accumulate data. As millions of people join, the platform hoovers up massive volumes of user-generated content. And then, Step 3, monetize. They take all that accumulated data and turn it into cash through targeted ads, analytics, or nowadays, training massive AI systems. And hey, for a while, this works beautifully. Network effects kick in, and everybody's happy. But here's the catch. This rapid growth, which is built entirely on the idea of free access, introduces some incredibly deep structural risks to the whole system.
What exactly are those risks? Let's break them down. First up, we've got a major erosion of trust. You see, as these platforms mature, their terms of service inevitably shift. Data policies change out of nowhere. Suddenly, contributors realize their hard work is being repurposed and profited from totally out of their control. Second, you get deeply misaligned incentives. When a platform's revenue depends entirely on keeping your eyeballs glued to the screen, their algorithms are going to reward loud, viral content over actual accuracy or genuine expertise. And finally, fragile networks. One controversial change in monetization, or a governance dispute, can literally shatter a thriving community overnight. Sure, the contributors might leave in protest, but guess what? Their data remains permanently locked inside the platform's walls. Ultimately, building a platform purely on this free access model, it's like building a skyscraper on sand.
Moving right along to Section 2, the opposite of free, building fair systems.
Now that we see the cracks in that traditional model, let's look at Codatta's approach, because it's a fundamentally different way of thinking. Most people naturally assume that the opposite of a free system is a paid system. Makes sense, right? But in the digital world, that assumption totally misses the mark. So the crucial point here is this. The actual opposite of free is fair. A fair system doesn't mean it has to be expensive or exclusive. It just means it's built from the ground up around absolute transparency and accountability.
So what does that look like? Well, in a truly fair ecosystem, contributors understand exactly how their work is being used. They know exactly how value is generated from their data, and precisely how the rewards are being distributed back to them. Codatta reflects this philosophy perfectly. Instead of treating contributors like anonymous, disposable inputs for an algorithm, it treats them as active stakeholders in a living, breathing knowledge economy. In this setup, fairness isn't just some slick marketing promise. It's actually hard-coded into the system itself. Which brings us to Section 3, the architecture of ownership, focusing on structural principles.
How does Codatta actually pull this off mechanically? It all starts with the concept of explicit ownership. In this architecture, every single unit of data you contribute is cryptographically fingerprinted, attributed, and linked directly right back to you. This firmly anchors your authorship, and I really want to emphasize this. Ownership here is not just implied. It's not a flimsy promise buried in a 50-page terms of service agreement that a company can just quietly update next Tuesday. No, this ownership is embedded directly into the very infrastructure of the platform to maintain an unbreakable, undeniable lineage for every single dataset.
And building right on top of that explicit ownership, we have enforced permissions. Because you own it, you define exactly who gets to access your data. You determine the specific purposes it can be used for, and you decide if it can be reused or extended later on. And the coolest part, this is all enforced automatically using some seriously advanced tech, like decentralized identifiers, verifiable credentials, and proxy re-encryption. But putting all that jargon aside, what does it mean in plain English? It means the system completely removes the need to trust the platform's goodwill. If someone tries to access your data and they don't have your permission, the math simply doesn't allow it. The system literally will not grant them the cryptographic keys. Access denied. Now, you might be wondering, how does this affect the massive AI boom we're seeing? Well, it's a total game changer. Most of the heavy-hitting AI models today are trained by basically scraping the entire internet, hoovering up data without any clear provenance or human consent. But Codatta's architecture flips the script. It ensures that AI systems are only trained on data that is explicitly consented to, structured, permissioned, and verified by actual humans. This doesn't just make the AI more ethically aligned, it dramatically improves the actual reliability and quality of the knowledge it outputs.
Let's move on to Section 4, Economics of a Fair System, specifically looking at durable economic signals.
To really grasp how this builds a durable Web3 economy, let's imagine a real-world scenario. Say you're an expert who just spent hours labeling a highly complex medical dataset to help train an AI. You upload your structured dataset to Codatta. Boom. Instantly, cryptographic fingerprints lock in your authorship. Your data sits securely in the knowledge layer, and your specific permissions are clearly visible to everyone. Now, let's say AI developers come along and request access to your amazing dataset. Every single time they interact with it, the system produces a usage signal, which instantly triggers a billing event. As your dataset becomes more popular and widely adopted, you earn token rewards directly proportional to the actual value you generated. And this brilliantly illustrates how all this complex, intimidating, decentralized tech actually results in an incredibly intuitive and, more importantly, financially rewarding experience for the user.
So how are those rewards actually structured? Well, Codatta uses some really clever mechanisms to make sure your work actually compounds over time. First, you have tokenized rewards. You earn their native token, X and Y, whenever your work is validated or reused by others. Then they use something called the LTSI framework. That stands for long-term skill and impact. Instead of rewarding you for one lucky viral post, LTSI measures and rewards your sustained, long-term contributions. Finally, there's reputation and governance. The most reliable, high-quality contributors actually earn real influence over how the platform evolves in the future. All of these mechanisms are deliberately designed to transform your everyday effort into a compounding asset. In this system, the distribution of value is incredibly intentional, rather than just being silently extracted from you behind the scenes. Let's wrap things up with Section 5, the future of knowledge, where we pit ownership against hype.
When we look at the long-term outlook, the contrast is honestly staggering. History has shown us time and time again that those traditional free platforms can scale at lightning speed. But remember, they're optimized purely for hype. They extract your value secretly, and they remain incredibly fragile to sudden policy changes or unexpected legal liabilities. On the flip side, ownership-driven systems like Codatta grow much more intentionally. They optimize for deep trust, and they perfectly align everyone's incentives. By cryptographically enforcing your control and keeping the data lineage 100% verifiable, the concept of ownership actually becomes a structural defense mechanism. It protects the community against technical meltdowns and governance drama. Basically, platforms that truly respect ownership manage to take the abstract concept of trust and turn it into rock-solid infrastructure.
So as we close out this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, pretty important question. In this rapidly emerging Web3 knowledge economy, are you content being just a resource, or are you ready to be an owner? In this new decentralized model, the real cost of participation isn't your money or your hidden data. It's the quality of your work, your diligence, and your sustained contribution over time. And in return, those exact qualities generate real economic rewards and lasting reputational capital for you. Ultimately, that kind of intentional, rewarding participation might just turn out to be the most powerful network effect we've ever seen. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer on the architecture of ownership. Keep questioning the systems you use every day, and as always, never stop learning.